Hello and welcome to Rubbin Minds. My name is Hero Daniels. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon and we have a great show for you today. I was having a conversation with my friends the other day and I was asked the question, can I survive on an island with everything provided, the basics, food, shelter, water, clothing, and internet access will be taken away from me? And I thought about it critically for a moment, and I said no, because we live in a fast-paced world now where we're all connected together. The world is a global village, and no man is an island. You know, for every single thing that we have to do these days, you cannot do it without internet data. I know how I feel when I get that notification from my network provider that my data has been exhausted. I'll be like, who is taking this data? You know, how is the data finishing so fast? And that's because I consume a lot of data online, you know, be it work, be it leisure, you have it. So now the big question is, as much as the internet has so many positive sides, we're very much aware that it also has its dark side. And sometimes we see that this dark side overshadows the positive sides. Now, what we're going to be focusing on in the first part of the discourse today is how can we strike a balance, all right? We want to discuss the dark sides of the internet. Should there be some sort of regulation on our internet space, on our internet space? Should people be allowed to actually just say what they want to say, how they want to say it, and when they want to say it? Now, what is the thin line between freedom of speech and actually maligning somebody's character or somebody's brand? We now live in a world where everybody is a social commentator. So long as you have data on your phone and you can hide behind your phone, you can just say anything you want to say. Half the time, especially amongst young people, people open troll accounts. And by troll accounts, I mean accounts that do not reveal their identity. And because their identity is not revealed, they can hide behind the keyboards and keypads and air out their thoughts. Now, there is a place of activism and there is a place of social commentary where people have to lend their voices to certain issues. That is a different case. But there's also a place of, it has become almost trendy for young people to hide behind fake accounts and sort of put out hate, put out a lot of negative energy on the internet space. And it's almost becoming cool, you know? To discuss this particular issue, does internet access cause decay in our society? I am being joined by communications personnel, Oluwaseun Imade. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Harold. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here, by the way. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. You look very well fed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so let's get straight into it. Can you sort of outline the positives very briefly and then the negatives of internet access in our society?
I mean, so the reality is that human beings are creatures of choice, right? So our God-given right to choose what we want to do and what we don't want to do, right? And then with the role of technology to sort of scale what that is, people have, now the chance to sort of say whatever it is that is on their mind without a chance of filter, or, the ones who have good home training, for lack of a better way to use it, can, say what they want, can say and then be like cordial in the way that they address people. But sadly, that also means that the people who don't necessarily have this restraint or like understand what restraint means can now say whatever they want to say whenever they want to say it, which includes insulting lots of people and causing lots of chaos, in the digital media zeitgeist. It just comes with the territory, sadly.
Yeah. So now, critically looking at the social media space, we can differentiate that Twitter is a different world on its own, and it's almost become cool for you to put out content, and people find it trendy to just sort of have very strong negative opinions on that particular content. What are your thoughts? Why is Twitter different from other social media platforms?
I mean, Twitter is strictly word-based, right? As against to, excuse me, as against to like Instagram, that is very pictorial, it's very aspirational in nature. You trend on Twitter or you become famous on Twitter by the quality of opinions that you have, or the amount of people who rally around the opinions that you have, right? And some people's job is always to stay at the left of those kind of conversation, because it will get people talking. And it also doesn't help that the guy at the top has now monetized the entire trending process, so people thrive on actually being left in those conversations. That's why it has to be a world on its own, right? We don't know what people are thinking. On Instagram, you can see them and they're like, oh, you're famous. Let me be careful what I say. But on Twitter, it's like, what's my own? I will say what I want to say. I will finish you. You get that kind of thing, and it's sort of like a depiction of what society actually looks like. Me and you can sit down as friends. We can argue. We can mimic, but there's a certain level of self-respect. But now you have a platform where I don't know you from anywhere, right? I don't know you from Adam, so I can say whatever I want to say without any gauge on my own opinions or any respect to you as a person.
Yeah.
So it's like a wild world.
Yeah, and also the issue of fact checking, because people consume news more on social media than actual news outlets. Yes. Like this one that we're actually broadcasting this from. People are very, very quick to jump on sensationalized news. So how do you think people can sort of fact check the things that are on the internet, especially on social media pages?
I'm like, sadly, I know that platforms are already implementing sort of like this fact-checking features, so as to protect a lot of people. I think even Twitter does it now, where you can then say, this particular news is not verified. So there's a role of the platform itself to then be, sort of have like stringent process on how they verify actual news that are put out, right? But again, because it's social media, right? Everybody's going to say, what they want to say. The onus also lies on people, right? To also, I've heard this thing. How far is this thing true, right? How do we begin to debunk? So there's a role for the platform to play. There's also the role for people themselves to then not just consume everything that they see. Because, you and I know we are like in the media, literally news can come from anywhere that you don't know where it came from, right? So the onus is also on people to become smart. You get what I mean? About what they choose to consume and what they choose to believe. Sadly, that's not always the case, but that's honestly the way forward.
All right, so do you think that our internet culture is actually affecting our culture as a nation? In the African society, respect is a thing. Respect for elders is a thing. And even when your elder does something that is wrong, there are very creative and much better ways to communicate what that elder has done, as opposed to insulting them directly. Do you think, the Western culture is affecting our African culture?
I think I would say yes and no, right? And a lot of people might not. Maybe the expected answer is like no, you get an answer. But I would say yes and no, right? Because if you look at maybe on tribal ends, for instance, right, the respectability culture that the Yorubas have is not necessarily the same respectability culture that the Igbos have. The Igbos can speak truth to power on the larger scale of things, right? But the Yorubas not necessarily. So there's a bit more, cordiality to how they address things, so to speak, and it varies from different cultures. People have different ways they handle different things. People come from different backgrounds in terms of how they address different things, right? So it does. People would come and say what they want to say, how they feel they want to say it. We have people who tell you, I don't care if you like take it, and me, I'm a straight shooter, and they will straight shoot on the internet, right? But as Nigerians as well, on a more macro sense of things, or a more holistic view of things, we are very respectable people, right? And we sort of promote that culture of that respectability. And it's not just even us as people. I think there is a culture of kindness that is also missing on a larger scale of things, right? There is just that culture of kindness, that how do I approach this? How can I approach this thing? But how can I speak to this person with love? Not everybody cares to do that, right? And which is something that I feel like more people should promote, right? More people should sort of double down on, because kindness really does not go out of style.
I like that. Kindness really does not go out of style. What are your thoughts on negative news going viral much more than positive news? You go on social media spaces, it's easy to get drawn into negative news because it's easier to sell. Why is negative news easy to sell?
I would say that there's a reason why clickbaits work, right? There's a reason why clickbaits work on a large scale level. Human beings negative news will push faster because they want to hear what the gist is. What's the gossip? Hey, where in the apple? You get that kind of thing. It will make me like I will be ginger to come and hear it. So people tend to want to push that, that sort of narrative for entertainment purposes, or to just sort of live vicariously and confirm whatever their own biases are, right? Which is the reason why it will fly. It's not necessarily the right thing, right? It also leads to a lot of decay and a lot of false news spreading, but it's just the nature of human beings, right? Bad news will spread like wildfire. But as people who the bad news is being spread about, they almost also lies on it to be able to convert that to then feed for you. There's a saying that no press is really bad press, right? It's able to use that to then convert into something that works for you at the end of the day.
Have you ever thought, of regulation of the internet space? Do you think that regulation might be a good thing? I mean, people have had several conversations around regulating the internet space, and we know that people in power might misuse it. However, have you ever at any point thought that maybe the internet should be regulated?
I mean, I would say yes and no. Maybe on the basis of fact checking and on the basis of just guidelines and principles, I think yes, right? It would be a good thing for it to be regulated, but you also don't want to stifle the opinions of people, right? You don't want, it's a social space. People should be able to air their opinions as freely as possible and not feel like they have, sort of shut their voices down. So it's a hard line for, platforms to sort of navigate, and even people or governments to navigate, so that you're still maintaining that freedom of speech, or maybe there is it's sort of like a way for us to then judge what the sentiments of people are. It's a great way to do that, but then there's a narrow line of then defining, how you then want to control cyberbullying basically, so that you're not sort of creating more problems than you are creating solutions by reason of these platforms.
Okay, so very recently we've seen the rise of certain social commentators, and lawsuits are flying everywhere. So these social commentators come, they say something online, people slam them with lawsuits in millions, hundreds of millions. What are your thoughts on the rise of social commentators?
I mean, it's still freedom of speech. I think as a famous president said, I can guarantee you freedom of speech. What's freedom in our own context? Anyway, I can guarantee freedom of speech, but not necessarily freedom after this speech. Right? Very sort of proud people, right? And they have, and as a consequence of that, they have very, very big egos, right? So you are going to say lots of things, and you are going to get lawsuits, right? Because then there is a case of slander and then defamation. So there's also, as social commentators, there's a responsibility of sort of being wise in terms of how to pass a message.
So we barely have 2 minutes to wrap this up.
There are media guidelines that will keep up.
Yeah, we barely have 2 minutes to wrap this up. So I'm going to be very, very particular. There was a particular Time Blessing CEO came online and said something against an entire tribe. She said something about Bini people. So in such cases, I mean, it's not particular at a Bini person, but she said something against an entire tribe. What do you make of that? And what do you think should have been done about that?
And it's a constant bias that a lot of human beings have. It's like something happens, and then I assume that because this thing happens with this person, this is how everybody in the media, sort of behaves, right? So it's not, we sort of make a big deal out of this and then want to crucify one person, but in truth and in actual fact, we all sort of do this in one way or another. There's just, just that sort of general idea, in the way that we sort of address that. Was it good? Was it right? Of course not, because that was a generalized statement. So I think it can be addressed as that. So when next you're coming online, make it specific to this, situation, and not generalize it, dragging a lot of tribe. I mean, she got the consequence of that for and she should be more careful going forward. But we'll see that she will really.
Thank you very much, Oluwaseun. Thank you for your time. Rubbin Minds continues after this break. Stay with us. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show it. Before we went on the break, we were talking about how internet access could, be detrimental to the society. But of course, I personally think that the positives actually outweigh the negatives. And now we've got into the segment I'm very, very excited about. Let's talk some Nollywood. Now, Nollywood is perhaps one of the biggest in film industries in the entire world. The last time I checked, they said it's the third largest. So after Hollywood, Bollywood, then you have Nollywood. And we've seen a rise in terms of how visible our stories are, how visible our African stories are on streaming platforms. People are consuming our content, from different countries, and Nollywood has become even bigger. However, there are certain individuals that laid the foundation of an industry that we now know as Nollywood, and one of the legends is actually in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I have the incredible, the man, the myth, the legend, Emeka Ike himself.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. When you walked into the studio, you said something that you're now a zaddy.
I look like a zaddy, Actually, they want to make a new role, a new movie of me looking like a zaddy, so that's why I'm keeping this,
Oh, okay. So we're going to see the transition of the typical Emeka, the lover boy, because all the movies, you formed my entire childhood, from Deadly Affairs, just to mention a few. And
that's right.
You formed the foundation of what is now known as the lover boy, the bad boy, in movies. And you were sort of the template for a lot of young actors.
Thank you for the encomium.
So we'll be seeing more Zaddy roles now, right?
Oh yeah, not about Zaddy role. This particular role I'm playing after this one. The director Techno wants me to actually look this way because I'm supposed to be some dashing guy, So I have to look like it, like someone who controls power, money, riches, and all that. So that's why I'm looking this way.
Don't worry, you do actually control money, power, and riches in your life. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be easy for you.
Oh, well, let's see.
All right, so let's get back to, the beginning, right? You've been off the scene for a while, or people think that you've been off the scene for a while. Where has Emeka Ike been?
Emeka Ike has been where all the other artists that were in my genre are. There was a point in time when we were all pushed out of the system without the people knowing what happened. The government came in, the policy is everything. Just one policy could change everything for the whole industry. And there were days of, what do you call it? Where you go to rent films.
Yeah.
What do you call rent?
Asset houses.
Where you rent those shops, you rent those booms that year, okay? All that just died for no reason. And we're all now using video clubs, right? All died for no reason, and now we only get used to using the decoders. So the transition from using jackets, buying movie in jackets, to decoder, that was where you lost us. Were not included. Our opinions was not engrafted into that process. So the people that made the policies out there just yanked us off, and we couldn't do what we needed to, or what we loved doing anymore. Then too, Emeka Ike was depressed for a long time out of some marital whatever, and I was hiding. I was in shame for what I didn't do. So that's sometimes the price you pay for being large. So I was depressed, I was short-circuited for no reason, and I had to just hide my face until I know what was wrong with me. I could tell you at a point I wanted to kill your Ebuka. I was looking for Ebuka. I thought I was going to see him in this show. I was like, Ebuka, I would have killed you for nothing. Because Segun Arize came here and they called me a madman. Now, I was really angry and bitter that how could he just use such a word on air without coming to know who I am? After Segun Arize, there was so much war in the Actors Guild of Nigeria. I was a de facto president. I was fighting for the people. They called me the people's president. And I was fighting against some institutions, some men that are there, the oligarchs. Then somebody in between sneaked in to take my life. So there were assassins everywhere for me. I was facing gunmen everywhere. It's in the news. Go to the press. Assassins came to my house on the road. They just want to take my life. It wasn't Segun Arize. It wasn't Ejike Asebu. It wasn't even Abo. In fact, I lost my mother last month.
Oh, my condolences.
No, October, right? Said yes, and I'll be burying her very soon. Ibn Abo called me, and she'll be coming for my mother's burial. But that year, I was like, oh, Ibn Abo, you want to kill me? stuff, but the woman that was behind was somewhere quiet and, So we celebrities are exposed to so much dangers than we know. And Burna Boy said it, last, everybody will chop breakfast. So all of us, they chop the breakfast.
Wow. Honestly, I genuinely feel your pain. I'm sure it's nothing compared to what you really went through, but in just few minutes, you've told me that you went through depression, went through marital issues, had issues with your colleagues in the industry, and also you felt that the transition to the coders and streaming platforms sort of affected the demand for your business as well.
Yeah.
I mean, with everything that's happened, how did you make this incredible comeback? Because I know you just featured in Malaika.
Yeah.
Toyin Abraham's movie. So at what point did you say, you know what, I'm going to take my life back, I'm going to take myself back, and I'm going to be the man that I've always been? So what was the change? What happened? At what point? What changed?
When you realize that they're actually after you for who you are, they actually are envious about what you've achieved. So you're gonna ask yourself, what do I do next? Then what came to my head was, keep your head up. And I just kept doing the things I needed to do properly and the things I need to do. I just kept working on myself, kept investing. Like that year was after African Magic in court or whatever. I'm no more after them right now because I actually own my own TV channel right now. I own Nollywood TV on Star Times, Channel 62. So it's all about reinventing yourself, making sure you make the best of the negatives and the stones thrown at you to build the pillars that will fortify your next rise.
So I really want to touch on a very sensitive thing you said. If you feel free to talk about it, please. Because you did say something that you were going through marital issues and you were being accused of something you were not guilty of. But on the internet space, you never came out to clarify anything.
Yeah, it's difficult to clarify yourself because the same people that are bullying you on the internet, they are still there. They're going to say whatever you say. They were like, no, don't mind him. He's still missing her. Why? Go ahead, move on. They just make you feel like, what's going on? And if you are not prepared to handle it, you'll be crushed. Okay? My secondary school, St. Nicholas College on CMD Road, Magodo, was shut down. Over $480 million naira investment. That year, 480 million naira investment was shut down, and all I had was constant battery. And I was always saying, look, I don't beat this lady. What's going on? I went on air. I was like, come on, I never did. Babe, what's going on? They say I beat you. Do I? No, but you're a star, you know. They can always manipulate things and all that. So I was gullible until I discovered that she was actually the one behind this whole thing. Some ladies are too desperate for marriage lately. And she actually told me one time that I'm not the marriage type. I didn't understand it. So the young men need to know that there are plenty of ladies that are not the marriage type lately. And they're the ones that get you and I first. The good ones don't show the signs that you want to see want to go to a party with a girl. But these ladies show you everything you want to see. And then when you get into it, that's a luck. So it was depressing to find out that the person you were actually confiding in knows that men were coming to your house and was making calls with them and arranging and discussing this thing. And the resolution was, okay, after it all, blackmail him. I was busy grouping with the blackmail. I didn't know it was much more than that. So it was crazy. My school was shut down. Students were told, go home. This school is shut down. This marriage is shut down. On the same day, I was on air heading for a movie shoot in America. They already knew I was traveling. They were planning it. So I had to do, I was directing a movie and I was going to act in one of the movies. So 2 movies for G&J Pictures in Maryland. So they knew I was going to be away for a while. So they took their time to plan. So I was on air when she rang the bell. And all the students came out and said, look, I'm shutting down the school right now. You all have to go tell your parents, put you in another school. I wasn't waiting for it. I came back home to nothing. My property, my house has been moved. Everything in there, because my house is in Ogudu GRA, where I built my own house, but I was staying close to St. Nicholas College in Magodo, because if a student needs attention, I should be able to wake up 2 a.m., 3 a.m. to attend to it and do what I got to do. So they had moved all the properties I have in Lagos. I lost plenty of them, like 80% of my lands, because it was just the bag I traveled to America with that I still had, that I had just with me.
So the documents for those lands were taken?
People are bidding on my property and I'm looking at it and I feel like killing myself because I can't defend what you don't have evidence to. So it was a planned thing.
So the evidence was taken?
There's no evidence because you came back, they've moved your load out of the house and you can't see any piece, nothing. Your wristwatches, your awards, your pictures with presidents, everything I got as Emeka Ike was gone. It was just that box I went to America with. So connecting with Malaika was very, very easy for me because you go through a lot of resilience, bottled up emotions, anger, confusion, misconstrued truths, making you feel manipulation, and you never know where it's coming from. Sometimes you want to please this person for the other person, but you don't even know that she's actually manipulating you. So I feel sorry for young men like you, especially. I don't know if you're married. I was asking someone at Aminu Kano airport yesterday. I just came through Saudi Arabia last night. I'm like, I'm sorry for the young men like you that are not married. Because the narrative out there is that it's all about the money. And when they come, they don't like you for nothing. You're just a blackmail issue. And you must be popular, you must be rich, you must be a very strong banker, a successful man, to be a woman beater. No carpenter is a woman beater on the social space. No bricklayer is a woman beater on the social space. You have to be successful. And there are people like Iyabo Ojo that are there to back them up and say, hey, yes, 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 Kilode, Kilode. Now, your experience as Iyabo Ojo might not be the same thing with that lady, because that could be a criminal. Anybody who interacts with assassins, gunmen, is a criminal, male or female. So we need to understand that the social space is polluted in Nigeria. I'm a resident in Germany. My family also lives in Nuremberg. You don't put everything out there. You just don't go on air and post anything. So when I hear people say, it's my right, your right to abuse me, to give me a wrong image, and sorry is all I get for it, somebody needs to regulate our social space. So
you said sorry is all I get for it. Has she apologized?
If it was deliberate, there's no apology coming because there's a lot to cover for. Man, I was hunted like a rabbit. Gunmen were coming to my house, marksmen. Go to Magodo police post. You see my statements. Marksmen were in my house this afternoon. Oh, 6 men came to my house the other night. Oh, some men came with gun. Not jokes. Then I was after Segun Arinze because then as a human rights activist, I felt, well, they're coming for me because I'm fighting against them. It was a whole lot of manipulation.
Have you gotten your school back?
How can you get a school back? What's his name? The Minister of Aviation now. What's his name? That lawyer.
Festus Keyamo?
Festus Keyamo was to be my lawyer then. He was my lawyer before I became a government man. When he saw the damage, he said, bros, let me not use that word, and move on. Leave the school. It's messed up. Because this is a moral institution where you can be criticized or for being anything corrupt. Parents will pull their kids out. Where you can be maligned or anything being said about bad misbehavior, bad character, whatever shouldn't be mentioned around you as, So I couldn't save the school because parents were already pulling their kids out when the proprietors woke up on the same day I was on air. She sent the Prado Jeep that took me to the airport. And the driver came back. She asked, where is he? He said, oh, guy is on air. Said, okay, get me the assembly bell. And the students gathered and said, I'm shutting down. Get your parents to put you in another school. And it was like a burial scene. Teachers were crying because they don't know where to get the next job. Students were crying because they're going to miss their friends. They didn't plan for it. They weren't expecting it. So it was so much of confusion. Then all I got was constant battery. Constant battery. I'm like, what? Kids, do I beat your mother? No, daddy. I built for you in Lagos. It wasn't nothing. Alawade, I built for her mother. In Isoko, 3-bedroom, I built. I trained you in school. I was in Yaba Tech. My friends, some of them are deans of faculty in Yaba, in Unilag and so many universities. I just took her there, give her admission. And I changed her life. Made her a teacher. Put her into school part-time. They say, this one is pregnant too. You don't feel like jam. I said, okay, that's why we're here. Drive any car you want. The Prado, the Touareg, any of the Infinity, any car you want, just have fun. You're a big man's wife. And that's all I got for it, because I was investing on someone who wasn't investing in me. So you just keep loving, but you don't know if you're really loved in return. So that's the mistake we make as young people. We have found, I'm a Motiri babe, street babe, man. It's about getting the girl. But if you not talked about your security, does she like you? You know, so that's just it. So no apologies. She's hiding, running up and down. If you saw my post last week, I was like, okay, fine. Someone said it was I saw a post last week. He said, Emeka is having fun now after his ex with a new South African wife and that and that and that. After he divorced us, I didn't divorce her. I went to make my claim. I didn't divorce. She went to divorce herself. She said, Governor, George, please divorce me. I have to go. I said, Kilo Day, where are you going? I was on my knees. Felix Duke was on his knees. My sisters were on their knees in court. The people that came with her to court were on their knees. Are you okay? What's wrong with you? We didn't understand what was going on in her psychology. But she was so restless. And if you read that, I was always saying she looks blackmailed. So when you're a lady and you're dealing with gunmen, it gets to a point when they take over from you.
So you feel like it's not entirely her fault? She was being controlled.
Her fault because she got herself into that corner. I wasn't working with people who would take her life. So the moment I start doing that, she know that something could twist. You understand me?
Yeah.
So it's a whole lot of confusion out there. Even as it is right now, 10 years she's been out of my house. And then last year she came, boom, when I was in Germany, I just went to arrange my kids' papers so they can move on. I shut down my stardom. Like I told you, depression made me, I shut down. Like I had to focus on my family. I noticed a lot of lapses. I said, okay, man, forget the stardom stuff right now.
Yeah.
The kids.
Okay.
I was able to bring them out of depression and build them. Yeah. But right now she's in their possession. I don't know where else they are. I can't see my kids for 2 years. They are hiding from me. Their phone switched off.
All right.
I don't know. So it's a world we are finding ourselves.
Yeah.
But we know that God will see us straight.
Emeka, first I would say that you've been through a lot. The stories I did not expect to hear as much. And, you know, I can tell that you're in a better place right now.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I just really hope that eventually, you know, we can all find closure, because we all need closure. That's right. To a certain extent.
Thank you.
So this movie, Malaika, you did mention that you really felt a personal connection to it. Can you tell me more about the movie? I
had a wife who she was more prone to anger than peacemaking or being reasonable. She just want to be controlling, you must respect me kind of woman. And I have a daughter that loves me so much. And her mother is late. So there is the conflict. So there is that, you need to balance your love for her, your love for her. When she's angry, she wants you to play her game. And your daughter is there crying, Daddy, help me. I'm being swallowed in this anger. So you see, there's a lot of family tussle. That you need to be a man to realize that, okay, fine, I won't be moved by emotion. You need to really get to the roots of what's going on in your family. There's so much manipulation. Maybe the one manipulating you might not even know that the extent she's going. You need to find out. You don't just walk across everything. So you are the blackmailed person. You're the one that needs a mental health solution because everything is coming to you, daddy, 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 daddy. And then also the woman also will be punished because when you're in such situations, it's going to affect your person. You can't progress when you're not receptive to progress. You're not positive. Progression becomes a bit of retarded because you're not working in the positivity. Okay. So she had her issues. And the girl, oh God, I feel sorry for my daughter. I feel sorry for my daughter.
Before we reveal the entire plot, I believe it's premiering today. It's not, no, it's the premiere is today.
Yeah, today and 22nd. From today, we're on air. So.
Okay, then 22nd is out in the cinemas.
That's right.
Emeka, Ike, thank you so much for really being vulnerable with me. I do not take it for granted. And I also just hope that even with other industry players and, some of your colleagues that have hurt you in the past, or that we can all find a place for forgiveness and moving forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for speaking with me. Guys, Rubbin Minds continues after this break. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove. Right now, on a lighter note, let's talk about African football. It is no longer news that one of my favorite brands, which is Techno, is partnering with CAF. They are the official sponsors of the African Cup of Nations. So to discuss this partnership, I have the product manager for Techno, Charles Enwere. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
You look very good.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I've seen you a couple of times, but now seeing you again, you look really, really good.
Thank you so much.
What soap are you using? Okay,
the grace of God.
Let's jump into it. Tell us about this partnership that Techno has with CAF.
Well, it's African football, celebration of African unity. We know what football is to Nigerians. We know what football is to Africans. Because fans love to watch their favorite players, favorite teams, and everybody's rooting out for their favorite African country. AFCON is the most important, one of the most important African competition in Africa, and almost the third in the world. So it was very strategic for us to partner with CAF to ensure that we bring a much more enjoyable experience for our customers this AFCON.
At some point I was paying very deliberate attention in terms of the market share of mobile phones and everything, and I've noticed that 3 out of 5 people are using Techno. Can you tell us more about the product and why is such a product that resonates with Nigerians?
Well, Techno is a brand that's very intentional in reaching out to Nigerian audience, Nigerian consumers. We are first of all, we are in over 71 countries, and we have been a market leader in most of these emerging markets. So we have taken a lot of feedback from our consumers to ensure that we meet them at the point of their expectations. Nigerians expect certain things in their devices. Nigerians want certain things in their devices, and that's one of the things that we play a leader in to ensure that we meet our customers in what they want. Nigerian users are very, very special. How do I say this? Because one, they have high expectations, and they are also faced with the realities, which is the economic realities. Now, if we have expectations, what are the expectations, for example, now? The specs of these devices, the design, the camera, the color, the battery life, how the features that it comes with. Is it water resistance? Is it wireless charging? So they want these features in their mobile devices. But what about the reality, which is the economic reality? How can they buy these devices with what they earn and enjoy the same features? Now, what Techno have done is to bridge this gap between customers' expectations and customers' reality. So that's why if you do this survey, I'm sure it's more than many high percentage of Nigerians use and enjoy Techno devices, and the feedback is massive.
Yeah, and also as a business, I think it's quite responsible because, most businesses will actually prioritize profits over people, but obviously Techno is prioritizing people over profits. Why did Techno take that standpoint of prioritizing people over profits?
Because Techno love the Nigerian people. We have people. We love the Nigerian people. We understand what's happening in the country, and we want more people to enjoy smartphones. I'll tell you, majority of Nigerians' first smartphones, their first smartphones that they used was a Techno device, because when smartphone came around, we are seeing the prices that smartphones were coming. But Techno came in and said, "Come, we can give you this. You can enjoy your smartphone. You can get all the features of the smartphone, and you can enjoy your phone experience with our devices." So we understand what the economy is saying now, but what Techno have done is to meet the people at the point of their expectations, even without breaking the bank. We have so many schemes to improve this. Loan schemes where you can go to our stores and have an easy buy policy that you can purchase devices and pay instrumentally in 6 months. So that way you don't have to stress yourself, but you have a smartphone to enjoy yourself. I know what smartphone is all about, where people use it to even earn a living now. People have to do their assignment, people have to connect with their loved ones, people have to do. So we are in an internet age where everything now is in the internet. So everybody needs a smartphone.
Yeah.
So that's what Techno is doing.
Yeah. So and I think what I love about the brand is the fact that there's a lot of variety. I know at some point I was a Camon addict, and I'm not joking. Like, Camon 7 comes out, I buy it. The next one, I upgrade, and I keep upgrading. But I do hear that there's a particular product that we should really pay attention to right now, Spark.
Yeah, Spark 20 series. We have different varieties, and whatever sphere you like, your earning power, whatever budget you have, there's a device for you. We have the highest end. We have the Phantom series, where we have the Fold and the Flip. We also have the Camon series, like I said. We're currently in the Camon 20, but next year we'll be expecting a bigger Camon with a bigger spec. Right now, we are in the Spark 20. We just released the Spark 20 series last week. So that is the device that we are using to launch a partnership with CAF and AFCON. So Techno will be there live in AFCON with the Spark 20 series, and hopefully some of our customers who buy this device will go and watch the AFCON live.
Really?
In Cote d'Ivoire, yes.
How is that going to work?
You just walk into our store, buy your device, get your raffle tickets, and you can be called randomly to come. Hey, please, you're going to come watch the final. The final is in 11th of February. Yeah, so you can just have a chance. Just get your international passport. So our advice customers, when you're buying your Spark device this January, just keep your international passports ready. If you don't have it, go and apply now, because we are for real, and we're taking lots of people to AFCON. Do we have a particular number of people? I wouldn't want to disclose that, but to be communicated. I hope because of this interview, I'm not disqualified to participate. Go and buy the Spark. That's what I'm saying. I hope nobody will say, because I conducted the interview, even when I legally win this trip to Ivory Coast. The raffle will be televised live, so you see the process, and if you have your raffle ticket, it's televised live, and we'll call you, we confirm. Then our guys will take it up, and you find yourself in Cote d'Ivoire. Amazing. So Techno, the brand gets involved in so many things, so many activations, so many partnerships. Yeah. But I think the one that appeals to me very well as a creative is the series you people film. You do short film with the phone. Yeah. You know, the first time I saw it, I'm like, this is a brand that thinks. Yes. You know, I know this might be out of the scope of what I really wanted to discuss, but I am genuinely intrigued, you know, why Techno is so passionate about the creative industry, so that a lot of creatives like me would also know that it's not just about buying mobile phones. You need to buy mobile phones that are interested in your industry and are investing in your industry. Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about that particular? The Common Short Film is not even a new project. Yeah. We've had it 2 to 3 years now, and we have people sending entries from almost everywhere in the country about their short films. They record movies with their smartphones, with their common smartphones, and they shoot these movies, and they publish it. So we reward them. So we have been able to. In fact, the winner of last year, I think the winner of last year, he had to even shoot his own movie. After winning with the platform he had to go to the States and shoot his own movies, and he was recognized over there in America. So we have created talents with this opportunity. We have created smart people who are onboarding filmmakers, and we have given them that platform. It's everywhere on our YouTube page, on our social media pages, of the amazing work they've done with the smartphones. So now that shows you the specs. It's the specs of these devices. It can shoot movies. You can shoot clear movies and also give people opportunities to also show their talents.
Okay, so Charles, before I get to the next question, I think I need to do a commentary on a particular myth that I think people need to debunk. I don't know if you're aware, but there's a myth out there that certain products are better than certain products. And eventually it sort of travels. And when it travels, people might naturally want to believe it because there's a mindset that, oh, this particular devices, if you don't have it, you know, you're not in vogue. But I have personally seen techno phones, and I've seen how clear the cameras are, and I've seen the improvements over the years, and I've seen that it's even way better than some of the, you know, brands people might feel like, oh, it's in vogue and everything. So can you tell us why, you know, Techno really invested in making sure that the camera quality, you know, came out so good that you can actually use it to shoot a full movie and even get international recognition?
Yeah. First of all, the mindset thing you spoke about is, I'll call it a perception. You know, people believe what their friends or their colleagues or their relatives do. So there's a particular class of people that feel that, oh, this particular device, if you don't use it, you don't belong to a particular class. You know, but it doesn't really. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's all about your own experience about a particular device. When you buy a device, you use a device. What's your experience with that device? If you enjoy your device and you can be able to do all the things that you want to do with it, then that's what really matters. So we have worked so hard. Kudos to my local team, our Nigerian team, to change that perception of Nigerians, to show that what you're expecting from this device A, you can also get it in device B for an affordable amount. So that's one of the things that we have been able to make in terms of strategic partnership with celebrities, partnership with people. So right now we have high-end celebrities joining the Techno family. So yes, apart from what the device can do, the perception too, we have been able to change that.
Yes.
We have been able to change that, and we will continue doing that.
I absolutely agree, because I personally look forward to every techno launch and techno event. You know, I'm always like, okay, it's now become a thing. Okay, now let me just tell you this free of charge, Charles. It's now become a thing that if Techno is launching a product, and as an influencer, as a celebrity, you do not get an invite, you have to question
why you're not invited. Yes. Well, we get that a lot, actually.
You now question, wait, so is it that my brand is declining?
Yes.
Am I not important again? Because now it is cool. It has become cool to be associated with techno. How did that switch happen? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm telling you this, and I'm not mincing words. I get pissed when I don't get invited to this thing.
Okay. Apologies for that. Perhaps our next launch, I'll personally invite you.
Please.
Is that fine?
Yes.
So yes, we like I said, our local team, we work so hard to change this perception. Right now we have events, we have lunch that some celebrities come for free. Let's put it that way, because of the brand association they have. Maybe we've done projects in the past and they are close to the brand. They come, and majority of them reach out and say, you guys didn't invite me. Why didn't you invite me? That's what Techno is now. Unlike before that, perhaps people will say, who is this brand? What is this brand? So we have been able to stand our feet in the market and said, yes, this is who we are. This is who we are. We want Tiwa Savage to hold our devices and travel around the world and use it. This is who we are. We want E-Money to come to our store and use our device and take pictures. We want him to be his key device. So that's who we are. So we have been able to reach out to lots of people and to sell our brand, not about the designs and what it can do, but the brand itself, Techno.
Amazing. Thank you so very much, Charles. And I can say that I'm a living witness. Initially, it's not just getting a celebrity to use a product. Eventually, the celebrity now sees how efficient it is.
Yes.
And is now highly dependent. Just like you mentioned, for a lot of people, Techno is now their main phone, while others are not their main phones. Like the saying would say, if you don't use Techno, how you go take no. Thank you so much for coming, Charles. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for sticking with us throughout the show. My name is Hero Daniels, and Rubbin Mind continues next week, same time, same station. Bye for now.